Welcome to another episode of Coder Conversations with Kevin TC. Hey, what's up, man?
What up, man? How you doing?
How you been?
I'm good, man. Good. Just been it's pretty productive weekend. Mostly going over like TypeScript and GraphQL.
Yeah. I see you've been really going hard on those courses.
Yeah. It's like you don't notice how much like how far you get until you look up and you're like, oh wow, I'm on section 9 out of 15.
You're
And
right,
like some of
exactly.
these sections are like super short, so it's not like the whole course is like super long anyway.
So, like, what's been really prompting you to study so hard?
Um, Mostly just like realizing uh like how much I forgot, and like before I got a job, right? Like I knew like React and like I was messing around with AWS and all this other stuff, and then when I got a job, I kind of like just put a pause on all that stuff, and then now like it's like I lost that competitive edge,
Yeah,
that fire inside, and ever since I started like exploring like React and like all the other stuff like that surrounds it, it's like man, like I feel like I got that fire back, um, and
yeah,
yeah, man, like it feels good. It feels good.
yeah. That's the thing. A lot of people don't realize about this industry. Is like a learning industry more than anything. If you're not constantly developing new skills, enhancing yourself, you can go obsolete pretty quickly. You can get like
Yeah,
typecasted.
yeah, yeah. Like I've noticed that where like a couple of positions or like recruiters that would hit me up, they would be like, we have the Shopify position. I'm like, okay, that's cool, but like
You don't
like
want to do that no more.
I got experience with Shopify. I want something else. Like I want like an
Yeah,
actual like I want actual like SaaS work, and you know like as one thing that I think I can take away from all these interviews that I've done, and I'm gonna pass the mic over to you after this, is like the 5 or 6 interviews that I failed, um, you know their bar for quality is like high, really high,
yeah,
and I just can't reach it. It's like trying to dunk, right? But like you don't got hops like that. Like
yeah.
like I got to get in the gym. I got to work on my legs. I got to work on my data structures, my algorithms, like show projects building like with React and all this other stuff, like and actually talk about it. And like I think
Yeah.
that's gonna help me in the long run. Like it might not look great now, but like in the long run, it'll look really good when I have like all these videos or just me talking about the stuff and like actually building with it. I think
Yeah,
that'll help.
that's the big thing, man. Nobody really knows what you do until they can see it. So that's
Yeah, yeah.
kind of like
So,
why, it's important to have a portfolio.
mm, and I think you were struggling with like building out like a physical portfolio page, right?
Yeah, so
Um,
it's kind of like why I
and,
started taking a bunch of design courses because it's like one thing to know how to build something, but it's
yeah,
another to know what to build. Like, when I sit down and think about it, like nothing, my mind just draws up a blank. Like, what do I
mm,
want to build? How should this look?
yeah,
Because at the jobs I've been at, it's been like, okay, we have a UI designer. He,
hmm,
he he creates the markups or she creates the markups, and
yeah,
here you turn this into an Angular application. I could do
yeah,
that
yeah,
like nothing, but
yeah,
sitting down and doing the actual designing, that's the difficult part for me.
yeah. And do you feel like you're like that's a weak? Do you see that as a weakness? Like it's almost like you don't. It's like a muscle that you don't. You're not working out, right? Like
Yeah, I
you're
would
so
say
used
it's
to
like
just working on that right side.
kind of like a neglected area. Like sometimes when people like they'll work out their upper half, but
Uh,
they'll put shorts on to cover up their skinny legs.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah, yeah,
instead of putting the shorts on, I decided like let me start doing the leg workouts. Let me
yeah,
start
yeah,
taking these design courses and
mm-hmm.
stepping that up because
Yeah,
it doesn't matter how good your code is if your site looks ugly, people are gonna think, oh, that's low effort. Like, you know what I mean?
yeah. Or at least like maybe I would say this like. there's certain people who do want to be specialists, right? If all they want to do is back end work or like front end work, like
Yeah.
I've seen certain people that just know HTML and CSS, or like
Yeah.
are just artists with CSS, right? You showed me this one girl who made like a controller, I think, using CSS
Yeah.
only. It's like
Yeah. It's really
that's
good.
amazing. Like,
Hmm.
so it's nothing to discredit people that focus solely on one specific field. Um, but I feel like if you're what was the point I'm trying to make is like if uh, if you don't feel confident in your front end work and like your own, you feel stronger in your back end work and you want to get like a portfolio up, it doesn't hurt to just snatch a template off the internet and like set something up just to have it up, right?
Right.
Like nothing against that.
But yeah, like with me, I don't want to be, honestly, I can make a lot more progress doing what I'm doing now. Like, oh,
Right.
just staying as this Angular type of developer, but I don't really want to be typecast. There's so many limitations. Like, say I want to start this business. Oh man, and I need to find a graphic designer. Oh wow, they're
Uh,
charging $300 for this little logo.
uh-huh.
Oh, they're charging $200 for this YouTube thumbnail. Like,
Mm-hmm.
after a while, it's like, man, I'm spending a lot of money for this. Why don't I just learn to build it myself?
Yeah, you could. There's a lot of people that have done that. My dad is a person like that where he'll like he's very much DIY. Like why don't you
Right.
just do it yourself? Like if something's wrong with his car, he'll fix it himself. That's how he learned. That's how I learned.
Yeah.
I understand there's there is the cheaper way to do it, right? But I do feel like if you have the funds and you don't want to go through that learning curve, right? Because you're learning, graphic design right now. But like, what? Let's say you
Yeah.
had the funds and you didn't really want to spend the time. Would you pay somebody else to do it?
Yeah. Like, so if I was a millionaire or something, and it's like, oh, okay, yeah, here, yeah, you can hire specialists once you're a big company, but like startup, they usually have like people that are kind of like they wear many hats. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
yeah,
Like when I worked at my first company, small company, we couldn't just be focused on Angular. We have to write, all these different unit tests, end-to-end tests.
hmm
So, like as we get bigger, sure, here, y'all do this. But I think really graphic design really goes hand in hand with the front end work. Like technically you can be a guy that just builds something, but you have a huge dependency on some UX UI developer, which I don't really want to have anymore. You know what
hmm
I mean? Like, say
hmm
we decide to go freelance. Like how can we go freelance if none of us can really design like a good looking
right.
website? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Like something an avenue that I'm not gonna go down is like music. You know what I mean?
hmm
Like I don't have musical talent, and
hmm
I'd be comfortable paying somebody for that,
hmm
but that wouldn't be a limitation in what we're trying to do.
Yeah,
You know?
not you. It's like you want to cover the bases of whatever the limitations are that you have in front of you
Right.
to do what you want to do. Like say you want to design a game, right? You could learn Unity, you could learn like the programming language and how to program the game itself. That's not new
Right.
so much to you. And then with you learning like with you learning like After Effects and stuff, I'm not sure if you could export some of the graphical effects, but let's say, what if
Yeah.
that leaned into, okay, hey, you can create the graphics, you can export them and import them to
Mhm.
Unity. Then now you have like visual
Right.
effects that you can play with.
Yeah,
Um,
like with After Effects and all of that, that video editing teaches me. It's like, okay, this looks good in motion. I can't just like one for one just directly export it, but I
right,
could
right, right.
recreate it. Like,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
I need
Like
to fade in here.
mhm. Yeah, you have the idea from your mind into a medium, like, and then
Right.
whether that medium is directly like on the canvas, like if it's directly like in code, cool. But if it's not, at least you visually have something that you can try to recreate in Unity or in JavaScript or whatever.
Exactly.
Um, I feel like that's really important. I think we talked about this a couple of days ago, where um, just get the idea out of your head, right? Like
Yeah.
it
Yep.
doesn't matter like if it's perfect, if it looks like crap or whatever, because the whole point is to have the idea, put it out there, and tweak it, right,
Yep.
and iterate on the idea. Like that first initial idea is not going to be perfect, and this goes with anything, right? That first
Right.
the first version of a song, the first character sketch, the first concept arts, the first free throw that you shoot is not going to be perfect. It's fine tuning of that craft and taking that idea and just like like a cake, like you're adding layers and layers and layers until you get that perfect thing.
Yeah, you know, there's always going to be room for improvement. So if you're waiting for perfection, like life is just going to pass you by, you know, like
Yeah.
even in dating, like, well, I'm gonna wait for the perfect moment to talk to this girl.
Mm-hmm.
Then 10 years later, you're like, man, I should have just talked to her when she was there.
Yeah. Yep. Because then you're gonna get that letter in the mail, but like you're cordially invited to our wedding,
Right,
whatever.
exactly.
Yeah. Um. But yeah, man. It's like to it's I want to say like we talked about like uh the motivation, right? And how do you feed that motivation, right? Let's say somebody's bored with the current work, like, and you're curious on how to get into, like, let's say you're a web designer, but you want to get into game dev, right? Like,
Yeah.
do you do you how do you feel about people that like do you well what am I trying to ask? The question I'm trying to ask is, if somebody wants to do game dev, like, well, what do you recommend them do as far as like, do they keep their day job and just and do game dev on the side? Like, how do you find that motivation to study like After Effects, and where did that come from for you?
You know, like for me, man, it was just, you know, I want this like coder conversations thing to take off. And, you
Yeah.
know, all the people that have heard it, they're like, man, the content is excellent, but, you know, the presentation is kind of, you know, back then it's getting a lot better now, but it was kind of like bootleg, you know. But
Yeah.
you know, if I really want to feel comfortable pushing this, you know, our presentation has to be like it has to be good. Like,
Mm-hmm.
say we take this in front of a big wig, and you know, it just looks shoddy.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
gonna
Yeah.
take it down. So, you know, the presentation matters, man. Like, say you go to a store, right? You're hungry, you want some potato chips,
Mm-hmm.
and you see two bags of chips there, and you don't know anything about them. Which one are
Mm-hmm.
you gonna choose? You're gonna choose the one with the better packaging. The
Right.
other one might taste 10 times better, but you don't know that. So like when people look at what we're doing, our presentation has to be up to par. So that's kind of
Mm-hmm.
like, you know, graphic design. It just made sense. Like it spans across so many different fields. Like, you know, once you learn graphic design, okay, our websites look 10 times better.
Mm-hmm.
Our streams look 10 times better. Like y'all, it's like, oh, y'all look professional.
Mm-hmm.
Like, have you heard of that guy Kevin Samuels?
Yeah. Yeah. I watched some of his videos.
Like, you know, you may not always agree with his approach, but like if you
Right.
look at his visuals, everything's well put together. Like,
Oh yeah, no, he is suited and booted, and the way he presents himself is like he's he never misses. I guess you could say, like,
yeah,
that's the best way to put it. Like his his it's the way he presents himself. Like I don't
right.
know if that's if if how he is offline is the same way that he is online. But as far as like
Hmm.
his online persona and presence or to say anything, like it's always like 11 out of 10.
So
It's
like think about this. If he was just a dude in like a t-shirt with a bunch of holes on it and dude back
yeah, nobody would listen to him.
yeah,
Nobody would
exactly.
listen to him. Yeah,
Man, who's this bum?
right, exactly. Like what does he know? And I think that goes back to what we were saying about the online like traction, online traction and online
Yeah,
presence, right? Where if if you just if you say, okay, my name is Terrence, I am a JavaScript developer, like, okay, that's cool. You have a title, you've clearly rehearsed this, but like, show me the proof. Like, talk is cheap, show me code. And like, even like, I don't know, I'm not trying to. I almost went on a side note, but like, to stay focused on this is like, it's saying that you're something is one thing, but consistently showing the results. Look at Kevin Samuels. He always like dresses to the tens.
Right.
He's got a consistent message. He stands his ground and makes his points, and he's strong with his points. But it all makes sense because like it's like, if you could say you're something, but to be about it is completely different. And I think that's what separates certain people. Like, they can say that they know something, but what projects have you made using this language? Or you can say you know Spanish, but how fluent are you on a scale of 1 to 100? Like how many conversations have you held? How many papers have you written? How many books have you read? Like, there's a level of work that comes with a title, and if you say you are of that title, then the expectations are going to be up here. And I think it's almost like you just have to be accountable. Like, it's a level of like self-respect and accountability that comes with like saying, my name is Terrence and I know JavaScript. Like, then it's expected for me to know this wide breadth of, I'm literally just saying I know this language from A to Z, and somebody could pick anything, a drop in a bucket, and say, describe me how an arrow function works, and I have to be able to describe them. Why was this created, and you know what I mean? Like, all these, I need to be able to talk about in depth. So yeah, man, like, you can't say you're a painter, or you can't say you're a contractor, and somebody hire you for a job, and you're going on WikiHow and being like, all right, today we're going to learn how to paint a fence.
Exactly.
Yeah,
man. Like, your presentation has to match up, or else people aren't going to take you seriously. Like, like lawyers, they have to come, dressed to put on their suit. They have to look a certain way. Like, you know what I mean? Even doctors, they have to put on the uniform. So it's like, with this product that this podcast is like, we, the more we do it, we're going to get better and better. But like, we have to really keep on polishing this up so that like when professional eyes do get on it, it's like, oh wow, these guys are prepared. They look like they're serious. And even when we're like, say we advertise this on LinkedIn or something, like when the thumbnail pops up of this, if we're looking like busted, the thumbnail's looking tore up, like
no one's gonna click on it. It's gotta be gotta be enticing. Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, I hear you, man.
So I know today you made a post about or you asked me about what I thought about a post on LinkedIn about, like, say somebody posts a topic and then somebody else comes in and advertises like one of their own posts, like links to their own posts. Like, what did you think about that?
Personally, it's just it didn't make sense to me, right? Like, okay, you want to gain traction, right? And your reach organically, your reach is only so wide. So to take your content, right, and start to spam it on other people's content doesn't make sense. Where like for example, like if I'm on YouTube and I'll be in the comments, and somebody will reply to a comment that says, hey, check out my YouTube channel, I make videos just like this one, right? You know that it's probably just spam, and you're not in cases like that, you're not letting your content just naturally just grow, right? Like, sometimes I might post something and it might not get any traction at all. Like, even if I use like hashtags or whatever, like initially that first flash in the pan is already people that know about me. It's never really somebody like completely brand new. So like, I get it. It may be a little bit like
sleazy,
I guess you could say, like, but
or maybe annoying or something. I
you
don't
got
know.
to do what you got to do to try and
Yeah.
get eyes on your content.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so I guess like it seems like all the social media platforms they're trying to recreate the gatekeeping concept online. Like before, if everything's just posted in chronological order, you could just post your stuff and everybody sees it. But now it's like the algorithm hides a lot of people's stuff. Like I did the 30-day challenge and
Yeah.
nobody sees my newest work, so I'm sure they're like, man, are you actually doing this?
Right.
So it's like sometimes it seems like people are doing stuff to bust outside of that algorithm that only shows like certain posts.
Yeah. I feel like, but take it like this, right? Like from the jump, right? You from a fresh profile, if you didn't have any connections and you started posting using like hashtags and stuff like that, like I think it would. I think that profile will probably do better than what your current profile does. Meaning, like you've you know where you want to go and you know the type of audience that you want to attract, but the the algorithm for LinkedIn or Twitter or whatever uh, is tailored uh, towards a certain niche because you've started off doing going left almost, right? Like, okay, software developer, coding, SaaS. Like, we're going to promote these software jobs and these software posts to him, right? And the people that find you are also related in that field. You're breaking out into the graphic design world, right? Like, I'm not sure how many like big name graphic designers are on LinkedIn. Maybe there are, but
Right.
it's almost like taking a sharp left turn and trying to go right now, and to get to that same level of growth, going right is gonna take time. Does that make
Yeah.
sense? Like,
Yeah, but to me, it's almost like punishing. Like you say, if I get more traction just from completely starting a new account, it's like I'm still hacking the system in a way. You know what I mean? Like, okay, I'm just creating a new profile and spamming, with a new profile
yeah,
versus commenting on other people's stuff and having, I guess, like a funnel to my stuff. So it's like it sucks, but you
yeah,
almost gotta play the game. You know what I
yeah,
mean? 'Cause that algorithm is kind of like gatekeeping a little bit. Like if you don't, like, and you can tell it's a sort of gatekeeping because on YouTube we got like like 7 views, 8 views.
hmm,
I post like these little videos on TikTok and they get like 300 views or something. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And the one time I talked about a relevant subject, and then that particular video almost got 10,000 views. So it's not even about the content. It is, and it's not. It's about like, knowing the system and, you know, kind of like tailoring your stuff so that it hits on those, you know what I mean? Because our content is
yeah,
great. Like, everybody that's listened to it, they're like, oh man, I learned, such and such, but they don't know about our stuff. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. And
So it's like there's something there that we're not doing to funnel people to this podcast that we either have to play the game or just like have a podcast that's almost like a self vlog. You know what I mean? Like we're just like a journal, just talking to ourselves.
yeah, yeah. No, I think ideally it's a matter of casting a wide net, right?
Yeah.
Like getting on Twitter, getting on these social media networks that can build an audience, right? And start talking with people, right? Start like engaging with an audience, whether it's through LinkedIn or Twitter or Instagram. Maybe not so much Instagram, but like Twitter and LinkedIn, and get a buzz going. And like when you get that fire, like keep feeding that fire, and and then don't let it die out, because eventually it'll jump off. I remember when I started doing the 100 days of code. I'm not sure if they still do this. They probably do, but there was like a hashtag 100 days of code,
Mm.
and I used to I used to do. Oh yeah, here it is. 100daysofcode.com. And like code a minimum of an hour a day for the next 100 days, and then tweet your progress with the hashtag 100 days of code. So I used to have a Twitter. I don't really go on there as much anymore, but you know, it was a lot of like newer programmers using this like 100 days of code
Yeah,
hashtag,
right.
and it was almost like uh, you could be found because you're using a popular
Yeah,
hashtag. So
exactly.
it's like uh, you don't want to just toss your ideas and toss your stuff out into the ether, but you want to be consistent. Like be consistent and have like a niche that you want to sort of like chisel into. And just
Right.
like that metaphor that we made last time, where it was like the guy with the pickaxe and he's like almost struck gold, but then he just gave up.
Yeah, yeah.
Like you gotta just keep chipping away at it, and then eventually it'll jump off.
And you know, like also, so say they have this popular hashtag. You know, this is why graphic design also plays into, you know, with marketing and graphic design. Like, say you got
Mm-hmm.
500 people all using the same hashtag and they're scrolling through, what's going to make them click on your profile? Like, you know, they got to see something that's catchy. Like, oh, he said something cool, or that looks cool. Like that project looks cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like everything now is about standing out. Like there's a lot of coders coming into the industry. What do you do that makes you stand out? How are you different from the rest? I think that's the you know, when there's a bunch of people competing for the same thing, how does this person stand out? How, what makes me want to choose this person? That's kind of like where we're at. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, that no, you're totally right. Like how do you stand out? And I think that's everybody has that personal that that personal thing that that's the question that everybody has to ask themselves, is what I'm trying to say. Like what makes you stand out
Yeah.
versus the next guy? Like anybody
Right.
can know Angular, but what makes Kevin Kevin? And like you have to like polish that to the nth degree, where like you're just on top of it and nobody can touch you. And the only reason that somebody could possibly touch you is because they put in that much amount of work.
Like,
Like,
you know, when I was trying to get my first programming job, like what really helped me stand out was, okay, you know, I've had the portfolio projects, deployed
mm-hmm,
these sites, that was cool. But he also seen like, oh, did you write this blog post? This is really good. You know what I mean? I had a programming blog, and that
mm-hmm.
was like what really made me stand out. Like I tell people, like, you know, you maybe start your YouTube channel. You got to do something that other people aren't doing to get eyes on you.
Yeah.
And you know what's crazy? Like you said, consistency matters. A lot of people, they will do something that stands up, but once they're in the industry, they start slacking and they just, you know,
Who are you talking to? We just I totally know what you mean, man. Yeah, it's like you just it's easy to get it's easy to have that big goal, right? And then like hit it and then boom, you made it. But then like you just drop off. And uh what was it? I was watching this Kobe clip the other day, and the guy asked him like, what did he say? He's like, you're something about a game. He's like, you don't look happy. He's like, what's there to be happy about? He's like, oh, but you're up. I think he said you're up like 2-0. Like, shouldn't like, are you happy? Like you're winning. And he's like, job's not finished.
yeah,
He's like, job finished? No, I'm not happy. And and it's like if you get content where you are, like if you set your eyes on a big goal, you make it. Like you need to set another big goal to keep that consistency going. If
yeah,
not, you'll just fall flat, and it's easy to just like undo all the progress that you made up till a certain point. Like I'm an example of that. Like I'm sure plenty of other people have been examples of that. Like you it, you got to keep going. Like
yeah.
you got to keep feeding that fire, and you know it'll pay off.
You know what's kind of crazy is like this industry is kind of like acting in a way. Like if you take the wrong role, you can get typecast into a certain role, and it's hard to break
Right.
out. Like you know who Christopher Wallace is?
Christopher,
I
let me
believe
look him
that's his
up.
name.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Wait.
He- Braxton from Jamie Foxx show. Ain't that his name? Christopher Wallace.
Well, it's a side note. Notorious B.I.G.'s name is also Christopher Wallace.
But let me make sure
um,
that's his name. Oh, Christopher B. Duncan. That's what it is, not Wallace.
Christopher.
Christopher B. Duncan.
I've seen him before. Hold on. Nah, I haven't seen him.
Okay, but yeah, he was Braxton on the Jamie Foxx show, or you know, like Jaleel White, Steve Urkel.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah,
you know, Christopher B. Duncan, I just watched an interview about him. He says, like, man, it's hard for me to get certain roles because they're like they think of me as Braxton. You know, he auditioned for this movie, and
mm,
you know, instead of them calling him by his real name, it was like, hey, what's up, Braxton? Like,
yeah,
you know, they associate that character with him, and you know, it could be like that in the programming world. Like, oh, there's the Shopify guy, there's the QA guy. You know what I mean?
yeah. Yeah, you can't break
Right.
out of it's difficult to break out of it. Um,
Right. So I think that's why it's good you're doing your project because you're showing firsthand. Like, I got React, I got GraphQL, I'm using it. Like,
yeah, yeah. And I think that uh, when you can write about a subject as well, like whether
yeah,
you talk about it or you write about it, like you need to be able to articulate your ideas, right?
exactly.
Especially with other developers or that might be on your team. So like being able to not only like perform, but to be able to talk about like your solution. Why this solution, right?
Right.
I find it really hard, especially like when I'm like when I record a video. I find it very difficult to be able to just off the top of my dome just be like, all right, so today we're gonna go over
Mm,
components. We're gonna go over state. Like I find it
right.
so difficult because I want to get it. One, I want to get it out, like, done in the first try, and I know that's never a good thing. And
Yeah.
two, um, I stop and start a lot, right? Like, okay,
Mm,
there's a lot of pausing, there's a lot of ums, and personally, like I could keep it up like unedited, and I have been, but I know that it would be better if I went through the process by myself, right? Okay, like I have a list of notes of what of the topics I want to talk about. I
yeah.
have the project, and I've gone through the steps to recreate the project and stuff.
Yeah.
And you know that would make a cleaner experience than just trying to do it all in one go and
Yeah.
stumbling along.
Yeah.
Um,
And that's not
you
gonna
know,
happen. You know what I mean? Like, if you even look at a lot of the big people,
mm-hmm.
like you see, like they're just talking, and then you see a little jerk, and then
Yeah, jump
you know
cut.
that. Yeah, exactly. So you know, you just got to accept that that's part, like messing up is part of the thing. Like, you're not a movie actor. You don't need to
Yeah, and
be like,
even then they
yeah,
mess up. Movie actors messed up all the
exactly.
time. Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
I'll say
man.
like keep your videos like 5 minutes so you can write like a little outline. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And don't be afraid to do the jump cuts. You know, yeah, you know,
yeah,
just get some. You know what? How I did the 30-day challenge. The purpose of that is just getting stuff out there. Like, stop. We talked about like perfection
yeah,
paralysis, where
hmm
like, oh, I want this to be so perfect before I release it,
yeah,
but it's never going to be that way. So I would say, you know, make a short video, do the jump cuts, but make sure you get something out like on the interval.
yeah. Consistent. I don't think I posted anything this week, and that's just because I've been so busy with studying and preparing and stuff. Um, but I'm gonna try and stick to a schedule.
Yeah.
If
You know, that's
anything,
why
like,
TikTok is good for me because it's like you can do 30 seconds, a minute long, and that's the norm.
yeah,
So I would say, you know, maybe on the Coder Convos TikTok, like make a short minute video, kind of like talking about one aspect that you did today.
yeah. I think I'm gonna try and do that. Did you read that book? Still like an
The Still
artist?
Like an Artist.
Yeah.
No, I haven't gotten into that. I was watching these other courses, but yeah, man, what's crazy? I bought that book in 2013.
Yeah. It's easy. I want to say this, like, and I have this problem as well. Like, I've
Yeah,
noticed that it's easy to just like put off a idea or get distracted. Like, all right, I'm gonna learn this, and
yeah,
then like you see a sale. Oh wow, I'm gonna cop this course on
exactly.
this other language that would be pretty cool to learn, right? And like it's like you start all these little projects, but you don't finish them, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
okay, I'm gonna learn this, and you start on it, and you get like one section deep, and you look at you've got like 30 sections to get through. Like, all right, well,
yeah,
I'm gonna start on this new project over here, and then you do a couple sections over there, but you never
yeah.
finish.
That's kind of
And
like what I'm trying to do now. Like, get through this one course instead of jumping, bouncing around.
yeah, like it'd be better if you just focus and
Yep.
just like get through the entire thing, like just get the ball rolling, because
Yeah.
eventually you'll be so absorbed into the task that you'll look up and you'll be like, oh shit, I'm on section
Right.
10 or whatever. Like, uh, it gets easier once you just put your head down and just start working.
Right. You know what else is a good thing is to stop buying those super massive courses. Like, oh, this is 50 hours of JavaScript. You think like I'm getting more content, but you're never gonna finish.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like, maybe like an 8 hour course is like, oh, okay, I can sit down and do this over like 2 days, and you feel accomplished because I finished the course. But you got like a 60-hour mammoth course, and you
Yeah.
spend 8 hours, you still got like 30 sections to go. It's like, let me do
Yeah.
something else.
Yeah, exactly. Like, there's no, sometimes the nugget of knowledge that you need is just like this piece right here. You don't
Yeah,
need the whole platter, right? You just want
exactly.
the like for me with this whole TypeScript course, like I just want to understand what TypeScript is and
Yeah,
how
yeah,
does it differentiate from JavaScript, and then to be able to articulate that into my own words,
yeah,
and that's my end goal, right? And like that, like with anything, right? With GraphQL, okay, I want to learn, how does GraphQL communicate with the client
yeah,
side, right? Like, okay, it's front end agnostic, meaning that it doesn't matter if the front end is made in just HTML and CSS and jQuery,
right,
or if it's made in React or Angular or Vue. Like, all it's looking for is it a fetch request, or what kind of request is it? What kind of GraphQL call is being made, and what type of data should I return?
yeah,
So the whole point is like if you're gonna learn something, you have to have an end goal in mind, and
yeah,
not to just say I'm gonna learn this just to add it onto my resume, because like the point of learning something is to either personal or like a goal related, meaning like you just want to do it for yourself, or you want to do it because it'll make you more valuable to your current company or to a new company or whatever.
right,
Like, uh, and I think understanding that goal, right, for yourself and myself and whoever else might be listening, is like, that's the key to really like getting through like anything. Uh,
yeah,
that's the key to your consistency, and that's the key to your motivation, is like understanding like what are you doing it for?
right.
Yeah,
Like, like with those courses too, you also have to classify them. Like, is like some courses are like reference courses. They have like everything A to Z,
yeah,
and others are the essentials courses.
yeah.
Like, this is the important stuff you're gonna use on a day-to-day basis.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you try to go from A to Z through one of these reference courses, like that MongoDB course I was telling you about, that's
Yeah,
like a
yeah,
reference course. Like, I got like 5 sections in, and like, man, this is getting kind of boring. It's too much stuff here. Like,
yeah,
I'm not going to use a lot of this on a day-to-day basis, but you know, I don't need to finish that course. I need to get what I want. I need this particular section. Let me get this.
mm-hmm.
Like, it's like saying you're trying to learn programming. You're not going to read like like an encyclopedia on programming. You're going to pick a language and hone in. Like, with
Yeah,
these reference courses, don't try to do the whole thing. you know, because you're never gonna finish.
Yeah. Or I would say this, like, just build as you go, right? Like if you're learning,
Yeah.
like I'm learning TypeScript, right?
Mhm.
Like if I go through 5 sections, okay, let me build. What can I build using the knowledge that I've made or that I've gathered based on these 5 sections, right? I learned
Right.
about classes and variables and function types and like what can I build with just generic types and generic classes, and then
Right.
work on that, and then deploy that, or not even deploy, but like just save it in a repo somewhere, because like it's all connected, right? Like talking about it online, being able to
Yeah.
verbalize your thoughts, in either in video or in text,
Mhm.
um, like 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 it's almost, it's like you're not passively learning, right? You want to, you need to like actively learn.
Yeah.
Like I can't watch somebody fix a car and then go out to my car and be like, all right, I watched this 90-minute video on how to replace my alternator.
Yeah.
I'm gonna replace my alternator now. Like I still remember the day that I replaced my alternator in my car, and it took me hours. Like even though this video was
Mhm.
like 20 minutes long, it took me
Right.
all day to replace this thing. Now I know how to do it. Now I have a budget of time of how long it should take, because I have
Yeah.
the experience to reflect on it. Like I can't passively learn TypeScript or Angular or whatever, go into
Mhm.
an interview and be like, I know this, because they'll they'll ask me a question on it, or they'll tell me to build something with it, or to show
Yeah.
something that I've built, and the facade will come falling down
Yeah.
immediately.
Yeah. Yeah. You gotta use it.
Yeah, you have to use it. You have to apply the knowledge, and even if like I would say like even what's the word I'm looking for? Like not even, but it's more so. First of all, like learn how you learn. Meaning, like if you love to read,
Mhm.
buy a book or buy a PDF and buy a Kindle.
Yeah.
Like there has to be some sort of investment, whether it's time or money or whatever. Like you have to invest the time into learning your craft and
Yeah.
understanding how you learn. Like for me, I prefer video courses. I can read a
Mhm.
book and I can force myself to sit down and to read a book, but the the fact that I can like play a video at like 1.5 or 1.7 speed, like
Yeah.
and just uh like blaze through it, and to like I know that works for me, because like I've tested it and it's tried and true personally for myself. So like if books don't work for you or long courses don't work for you, like find something that works for you,
Yep.
and just abuse the crap out of that trick to get your mind to want to do it.
Right. Yep. You
Yeah.
gotta do that's what matters for everybody. They gotta do what works for them. You know, like a shirt may fit me, but it doesn't fit you. Same thing
Yeah.
with learning.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and I think that's what's missing in a lot of these conversations. People don't really customize things to themselves, because I can't just give you the game plan that worked for me. It might not work for you.
Yeah.
You know? So
Yeah.
I can give you like what worked for me, and you take some of that and customize it, and you know to what works for you. But it all comes down to yourself, like making that effort to understand what works for me. Nobody like we talked about in the before, like your boss asked you, how can I get this guy to do what you're doing? And I
Yeah.
responded like, he can't, because it has to come from within him. He has to want to be doing what you're doing. Like, just like,
Yeah.
there's a point where you didn't really feel like studying, but something awoke in you to where it's like, okay, yeah, I need to step it up.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
And that's the thing. It's like, in response to that, like into that question, it it has to come from it has to come from a personal place. Like
yeah,
for me, it was there before, right? It was there before I got a job. I got a job. I became complacent, and then I wanted more. And
yeah,
then uh, So I had to put myself through the paces of, okay, like uh today I'm going to focus on this. Like
Yeah.
even if I have to code like an hour a day, I'm going to code an hour a day, submit that onto GitHub, write up something of what I learned for the day, and then post it, and then just do that. Like boom, that 3-step process: learn, write, post, learn, write, post, learn, write, post, learn, write, post.
So
And
what do you think it was? What it was that made you go cold in the first place? Like, okay, I got the job. Now I'm kind of relaxed.
because I put that, like I said earlier, like I put that big goal in front of me.
Mm-hmm.
The big goal was Terrence needs a job. Terrence needs a job.
Yeah,
Terrence
yeah,
needs a job. And then I got the job. Remember that? Where you were like,
yeah.
hey, Terrence, you know, he knows React. He just needs a foot in the door. He needs a job, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
And then boom, I got it.
Yeah,
And then I got that, you know, that first paycheck and XYZ. But I no longer had that that do or die attitude, I guess you could say.
mm-hmm. Yeah,
Right? Like
yeah.
it's like a
Pressure.
natural instinct to like there's no it's pressure. It's pressure essentially,
Mm-hmm.
but it's focused pressure. It's like how a train is you know, you light the coal gets hot, and then whatever mechanisms need to happen in order to propel the train forward, you need to
Yeah,
continue to feed the coal in order for that train to continue to propel that train forward. I'm not sure if that's how that works, but in my mind, at least from what I remember as a kid, you know, it shows the train conductor, and he's like feeding the coal to the train,
mm-hmm.
and it goes faster and
Right.
faster. So you know, it's like
Yeah.
uh, I got that job, and I just turned it off.
It was accomplished. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like mission accomplished. I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
And um and you know, I was coasting,
Yeah.
and you know, as time went on, I didn't really bother with, you know, okay, yeah, React is out there,
Yeah.
GraphQL is out there, you know, blah 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 blah. But then my skill set was here,
Mm-hmm.
and as my years of experience, or as the expectations grew of me, like, okay, he's got a year of experience, he should be up
Yeah.
here. He's got
Right.
2 years of experience, he should be up here.
Yeah.
He's almost to 3 years of experience, he should be here. And
Yeah.
I just chilled here. And so now, as I peek my head at the opportunities that are out there, I'm
Yeah.
looking for opportunities, but the opportunities are down here.
Yeah.
And I should be up here in order for me to see those opportunities.
Right.
It's like building a wall almost. Like, okay, we're building this wall slowly. We're building this wall slowly, and then boom. And now I'm looking for opportunities. And like, hey,
Yeah.
like the bar was down here. What's going on?
Yeah.
So it's now I'm playing catch up, where
Yeah.
I have to I've got to reignite that pressure of like, all right, they want me up here. I got to show them that I can play up here.
Mm.
And so that's where it stemmed from. It's like, all right,
Right.
I have no choice. If I want to be up here, if I want to play at this level, I have to be able to perform at this level.
Right.
And that's it. Like, there's no other way around it. That or just stay where I'm at.
Yeah, and this tech industry is it's unstable, man. If you're not good, you can be let go at the drop of a dime.
Yeah.
You know, and then you're gonna be in that same exact first job position. Like, oh, I gotta go through 1,000 interviews and take a low ball offer. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's kind of like what feeds my hunger. Like, and plus, you know, this industry can burn you out. So I'm kind of like, I want to start building something to where I'm not like financially dependent on this industry, you know. And you know, houses are so expensive now. Like, if I just wait salary wise, I'll never really be able to own a decent house. So it's
Yeah.
like I got to make moves to, you know, get income faster. That's kind of like why I've been moving towards the entrepreneurial side of things. But
Right.
yeah, it's like always finding something that feeds that hunger, you know, like complacency, man, that's it's very dangerous, because once you're complacent, you can get typecast, and then you could get, you just get knocked out the industry, just like being an NFL player. Like, if your skills ain't matching up to what's out there, you're just gonna drop out the industry.
Yeah.
So, man,
Yeah.
and I think, like, what's good, like you say, is consistency. Like, don't make learning always like a high pressure thing. Make it like, I'm always learning every day something new.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's kind of like binge eating. Like, okay, and then extreme dieting. Like, okay, I'm
Hmm.
extreme dieting, going
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah.
Then you binge eat and gain all it back. You know what I mean? You don't want to quit learning once you get to the next job.
Yeah.
So
Exactly. Yeah. You want to make it a habit. You
yeah,
make it a habit to where, and all it takes is like, what is it, a week or 21 days to form a habit, right? Like
yeah,
once you do something enough, it just becomes a routine, right? So
exactly.
like like for me, I'll wake up around like I wake up around 5:30. I'll study my algorithms, and then at 7 I go for a run. And luckily for me, like I have a sister who knocks on my door or bangs on my door if I got my headphones on and says, "Hey, it's time to go run." And there's days where I'm like, you know what? I don't feel like running. And she'll bang on the door, like, "What are you doing? It's time to go run."
Right.
And so like I have that accountability partner that
Yeah.
uh, that holds me accountable, right? That says, "Okay, you said you were going to do this. I don't care if you don't feel like doing this. You're going to do it anyway."
Right.
And you just do it. So like for coding or whatever you want to do, like having an accountability partner really helps.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, yeah, it helped me to stay consistent to a degree. Like when I was first learning how to program, I don't know if you remember that girl named Jenny.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, we would go to Starbucks and we would study, and I mean we would study. It was an all night affair. We'd go to
Mm.
Starbucks and just like, all right, it's 6 p.m. We're gonna study until 7 a.m. the next day, and we sat and we studied. But it was a community a cumulative or community driven effort because there was just so many different people there, like
Right.
people studying writing, people writing papers, people studying medicine, like some people studying code. Like the whole point was like we were you didn't feel like you were alone.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's what made it different than just like sitting in your room in your house and studying on by yourself. Like you like, so it's like find a community that's out there that supports your goals, because there's definitely people out there that will try to bring you down, I guess you could say.
Mm.
Like
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with you.
have you ever experienced that where like I'm going to become a developer and somebody say, "Nah, that seems hard.
Yeah.
You can't do that."
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I've experienced that before. And like you say, you gotta kind of like square up your circle. Like, get away from people that are always negative. Like, oh, I don't think you can do that. I don't think you're cut out for that.
Right? It's tough,
You know,
man.
yeah. I mean, even if you have to be by yourself, sometimes you just gotta stand it alone. If you know that's something you want, go after it. And
Hmm.
why keep roadblocks in a way that don't have to be there? Certain people are just, I can understand, like, there's certain people that's realistic. Like, okay, say you're like 5'4", you're never going to be a center in the NBA.
Right. Yeah.
But if it's a reasonable thing to do, and they're still hating on you, it's like, why are you around this person? I've
Yeah.
had to trim down my circle, and it does a lot for your mental sanity, man. And, on the flip side, you also want people that are pushing you, like, hey, man, like, why are you there? Like, you're smarter than that.
Hmm.
You should be making more, or you're not work operating to your full potential.
Yeah.
Like your sister, like, hey, like, why, we need to be running. Like, what are you doing? Let's go.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's go. Yeah. You know what's funny? And I still think about this dude to this day. When I was working at McDonald's, there was this I befriended this homeless dude, and it sounds weird right now, like just by saying it out loud. It sounds kind of funny, but no, real talk. Like we would like I would have my lunch breaks there, and and I would sometimes I would give him my I would give him like half my sandwich or whatever, and we would just talk. And you know, he was like, "You're a real smart dude." Like, you know, you he would his whole thing was like, "You're real good with the computer. You're Mr. Computer Man."
Right.
And he's like, "What are you doing here, selling fake hamburgers and French fries to people?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You need to go to a company and knock on their door and be like, 'Hey, I'm real good with the computer. You should give me a job.'" And I think about him every time I go to McDonald's now, and it's the most random people that I
Yeah.
think that will support you on your journey. Like if it's like you want to lose weight or you want to build muscle or you want to read a book a week or whatever, like it's those random
Yeah.
people that are gonna like support you. Like,
So yeah, what's crazy, like the Bible literally said, like Jesus said, like, prophets never accepted in his own town, like his hometown. And
yeah.
sometimes it's not the people close to you that gives you that push. Like I was working at the Marriott Hotel and I was at the party there, and I was talking to like one of the janitors or something, like the maintenance men,
Mm-hmm.
and we were just talking about something, and I told him like, yeah, I got a degree in accounting. He's like, man, what are you doing working here? You know what I mean? It's kind of
Yeah.
like, dude, like, why are you here? And I had to sit back and really think, like, man, why am I here? I need to do what it takes to get out.
Yeah. And I think like that ties back into like what drives you, right?
Yeah,
If you're doing this for like if you're doing it because you got a baby on the way and you look at the dollar signs, you're like, man, that'll give me a comfortable life. Like if you're looking at it like, all right, well, I don't want to flip burgers anymore. Like,
yeah,
okay, I'm gonna do this. Like you, you gotta like constantly remind yourself like why you do what you do, because if you don't, it's easy to just like if you especially if you don't have a support system, it's easy to just give up because
yeah.
you're not accountable to anybody but yourself.
And
And go
one
ahead.
of the big reasons, inflation. That's a big reason to make progress. Like me and my
Yeah.
boy, we was in a cologne store today, and I was
Uh-huh.
looking like everything's $100. Like it used the same stuff that used to be $70. Like
Hmm.
a year ago, it's 100 now. So
Yeah.
if you're making the same thing, you just took a step back in lifestyle.
Yeah. Yeah. It's you're everything else is going up around you, but you're not going up. You're staying the
Yeah,
same. Yep.
exactly. So yeah, man, that's why it's important to make that progress. I think it's a pretty good note to end this. We're approaching an
Yeah.
hour, but
Definitely. Yeah.
yeah, we'll
Um,
catch y'all next time. It's a really good show.
yeah. Peace.
All right, peace.